Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new episode of Robot Rumble. Last week, Bite Force went out of the competition, and now every machine, no matter new or old, are quaking in their boots because they know that no machine is safe. We have another defending champion for you tonight, so let's see who'll be joining them as we meet the competitors.
4 machines, 1 dream to gain automatic entry to the knockout rounds by finishing top of the group. First up, newcomers Behemoth, armed with this bucket scoop that is both strong and effective. Behemoth claim they are indestructible. It's a bold claim, let's put it to the test. Rotator returns after a maiden campaign in which they lost twice, both times to 2020 champion Bronco. Not a bad machine to lose to all told, and those double discs could yet cause damage to competitors in a stacked group, as long as they can avoid Bronco. But, oh no, here's Bronco, the 2020 champion. They're here. They've only ever lost 1 Robot Rumble fight in their history. That flipper is the most powerful flipper in the competition. They can't be stopped, surely. Beta joins the gang, hoping to do just that. Never passed the first round, but Beta does have potential with that strong armour and axe that is constantly being improved. Maybe, just maybe, Beta will get its good hit this year. And this is how they line up in round 1, Rotator versus Beta coming up, but first, Behemoth versus Bronco.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
So, the 2020 champion Bronco returns with that powerful flipper against Behemoth, who say they are indestructible. They're looking a bit wonky with their armour though, but they are here pushing on Bronco, trying to get round the side of the champion, who's always had a little bit of manoeuvrability difficulties, but they make it up with a massive flipper, and there it is, getting in round the back of Behemoth and flipping it again, and oh, there was major damage here to Behemoth. As you can see here on the replay, Bronco flips up Behemoth's flipper and the pin has flown out and the flipper has flown off. So Behemoth now are flipperless. You can see inside to all the gubbins, but that's not stopping them pushing on Bronco, pushing them round the side, showing their immense strength, the Behemoth, and pushing the champion, the former champion, I should say, into the screws. And Bronco is having driving difficulties here. We've seen it happen to them in the past. Are they immobilized? That would be sensational. Nope, they're alive. Bronco twitches, that's enough to keep the judges' count away from them. To keep them safe and secure for now. They've fired the flipper, they've missed. Behemoth trying to edge Bronco towards that pit, but they've been thrown up there and they've sort of bounced around like a football, but Bronco's driven into the pit. Oh, it's unbelievable. So Bronco threw Behemoth, who bounced and rolled around back onto their wheels. And we saw they've been having driving difficulties all fight. And Bronco just twitched backwards into the pit. Behemoth with a huge scalp in its first ever Robot Rumble fight. Well, Bronco will have never quite found themselves in this position. Bottom of the table, Behemoth top it. Next up, Rotator against Beta.
Roboteers, stand by.
Are we recording on both?
3, 2, 1, activate.
Well, with Bronco losing, it's a massive opportunity for both of these robots to get in a position that they could win the group and go through automatically and avoid that dreaded runner-up rumble. Beta's got to watch out for those dual discs of death, whereas Rotator's got to watch out for that hammer, and there are bits flying everywhere already in this opening fight for these two machines. Beta came in with a slamming attack. Rotator ripped a panel off and then threw one of its own panels off. We know Rotator is mad and maddening and menacing and sometimes dangerous to itself. It's dangerous to everything in that arena with those spinning blades as it bounces over the floor flipper. Beta lost another panel there now. Self-inflicted, but Rotator into the pit. Well, Rotator was mad and bad and evil. but it did always feel like it lacked control. And it got some good hits off there on Beta, but then ricocheted off the wall and just drove straight into the pit. What are they playing at?
Cease.
Beta with the victory spin, 3 points for them. Now I'm fairly sure Beta are in the highest position they've ever been in a group table. Can they build on that and look to push through to the next round? And the next round fights are Bronco taking on Beta. It's going to be tricky for Beta to get points there because Bronco will be on the resurgence. And Rotator against Behemoth. But first we'll flip back and we'll do Bronco versus Beta.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
So here we go. The axe of Beta against the flipper of Bronco. Have Bronco fixed their mechanical radio issues from the previous fight? The champions had only ever lost once in Robot Rumble before that point. Of course, that loss was last year in the semi-finals against Bite Force, as in comes Beta, and there are bits and pieces flying off again. Something about Beta matches, eh? And that hammer raining down blows onto the bull. As both machines look for a way round, and over goes Beta. Oh, they've self-righted. Beautiful to watch that was. Let's get another look at that. Bronco threw up Beta, who landed on their back, but no problem at all. Used the hammer to self-right. It's very rare in Robot Rumble that we see a robot self-right, not once but twice now for Beta, who pushes Bronco into the screws. The former champion are having the hardest group phase they've ever faced in this season of Robot Rumble, where we've already seen Bite Force fall. And now we're seeing the 2020 champion struggling as well. Beta struggling to get that hammer in. And there's a flip. And Beta, can they self-right? Oh, Beta okay, they're back. Bronco helped them out. But Beta are struggling now. They've done so well. They self-righted 3 times so far in this fight, but now the hammer seems to be stuck and Beta are being counted out. Oh, it's so unfortunate. They were doing so well. I thought they were on top in this match. But it's going to be Bronco with the knockout.
Cease.
Let's look at the replay here, how this fight ended. There was the third flip of the night. Oh, that was the final flip, sorry. And you saw Beta rolling over using the axe. But then they got stuck here. And they just could not self-right. Some kind of issue with the axe mechanism. We've seen it happen to Beta before. And it just meant that they couldn't self-right. I thought they were on top in that, you know. I thought they were going to win it. So there's the table. Bronco back into the fight for first place, going above Beta on head-to-head record, and just behind Behemoth on head-to-head record, who are next up against Rotator.
Don't worry about that. Right, we ready?
Roboteers, stand by.
I'm on 2, that's fine. 3, 2, 1,
Activate.
So, Rotator looking to cut Behemoth to pieces, who should be feared, who already flipped Rotator. Rotator upside down. We know that the controls will be reversed for the driver of Rotator. Are Rotator moving? Those blades spinning up to speed, but Rotator is not moving. Has Behemoth defeated Rotator with one flip? No, they haven't. Rotator are away. Oh, the pieces are flying everywhere. Oh, they're bouncing around. Ah, somebody get a handle on them. They've stopped again. And Behemoth just waiting to see what happens now. Rotator again and into the pit. Oh dear. Well, you can't say Rotator aren't entertaining. So this was what did it. Flip them up. And I think the aerial is on the top side of Rotator, which meant control was just that little bit harder. You can hear the sound of those discs. They sound devilish. Could have caused some real damage here. But as you can see, once upside down, this bit was insane. Off one wall, off two walls, over the pit, losing the panel, and then hitting the next wall. They were all over the place, Rotator. I don't think I've ever seen a robot with quite so little control in all my years of Robot Rumble. I've seen a fair few robots that lack control, let me tell you. So here is the group table after 2 fights each. Behemoth top it with 6 points, 2 wins out of 2. Bronco and Beta following up behind, still battling it out. And Rotator, well, they're in dire straits. And for the final round of matches, it's going to be Bronco against Rotator and Beta against Behemoth. Still all to play for. Let's see how they do.
Are we ready?
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Both teams needing a win here, but for very different reasons. Bronco needs it to stake its claim on first place, while Rotator need a miracle really to go through in the other result. But they could go with some pride here, and they're ripping the panels off of Bronco. Remember, this is a rematch. These two machines fought back in last year's competition. Bronco came out on top both times. And there's Rotator with the attack there, and everything has flown off of Bronco here. Those devilish spinners getting up to speed. First, the little wedgelets on the front. There goes one. And then there goes the other one after the flip from Bronco. More like a flick, really. Couldn't get in properly underneath. And then Bronco, I still think, are struggling here. Turning, they lost the panel on the back there from that slam. So Rotator winning on damage if it goes to the judges, but with these two machines present, there's probably going to be a knockout. Let's be honest, as both machines battle it down here in the near side corner by the screws. Our new hazard for this season of Robot Rumble. And Bronco appears to have stopped. No, they're okay now. They're just struggling. Bronco really struggling here. There are bits and pieces all over this arena floor, and that's what you get with a Rotator fight. Bronco just deflecting them right now. Flip there. Not enough purchase from the flipper bot here. An all-American clash here, and in goes Rotator into the pit. Well, I thought they'd done really well throughout that fight. I thought they were on top, arguably. The former champions receiving a tanking. But they just drove into the pit. I don't know what's up with Rotator this year. Oh, dearie, dearie me. Well, there they go. And so this is how the group table looks. Rotator are going to be stuck to the bottom of the table. Disappointing for a team that made the quarter-finals last year. Bronco up to 6 points, but behind Behemoth on head-to-head, which means that Behemoth are guaranteed to go through unless Beta can get a win here. That would make it really interesting. So a win for Behemoth is what's required.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
So it's crunch time for these two robots. Beta has never been in the quarterfinals since it's gone to a group stage format. Behemoth, of course, in their first ever war. It's the battle of the British legends here. The Beta hammer of John Reed against Behemoth. Both machines with plenty of experience in other worlds, but in Robot Rumble, both have never had that much success. Both manoeuvring around, Beta almost into the pit. And now Behemoth still having trouble here. Their scoop is sort of bent up from previous fights, and it means they can't get underneath Beta at the moment, who's looking very, very manoeuvrable. They've lost the panel though. Classic Beta. They've had real problems this year, and massive damage there. Well, Behemoth lost their flipper from Bronco in the first fight of the night, and this one with no pressure whatsoever. Oh, look at that! There's a pin on the floor that holds the flipper in place, and it's just exploded. It's shattered, and now Beta can hammer the insides of Behemoth. And Behemoth have to go with that pushing power that saw them get past Bronco in the first fight now. And Beta just being able to wail down on them. He's got to catch on them. Can they drag them or push them towards the pit? It would lead to a three-way tie. And would it force a rumble like last week? I'm not too sure. I didn't look at the numbers that deeply. We'd also have to look at the head-to-heads between them. But Beta fighting for its robot rumble life here. As are Behemoth. Who knows if they can get that weapon repaired. But they want to get through to the quarterfinals on their debut. Remember, that's what Bronco did back in 2020. They went on to win the competition. And Beta, oh no, Beta's driven into the pit.
Cease.
Oh, it's unbelievable. They've thrown it away. Oh, Beta was so unlucky. They've had such an unlucky campaign this year. I think they were on top in this fight. They were raining down axe blows. They were scoring the damage points. If it had gone to the judges, you would feel that Beta would have had this sewn up due to the damage. But then they just slipped on the edge of the pit and fell into the hole. And you don't get out from there. So there is your final table. Behemoth through to the quarterfinals automatically. Bronco will have to go through the runner-up rumble. They're not used to that. Beta and Rotator, I think, were both unlucky to go away with the points that they did in the end.
It's another shocking night here on Robot Rumble. Newcomers Behemoth storm through the group stage, going straight into the quarterfinals with 3 wins out of 3. 2020 champions Bronco will have to deal with second place and having to get through the dreaded runner-up rumble that already contains the alien who they have fought in the past. That's all we have time for tonight on Robot Rumble. Thank you very much for watching. Good night.